PNRNetworks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNRNetworks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Oh, it's time for the show. Where is that woman? Honey?
What?
Where are you?
I'm coming. Wait a minute. I'll be right there. Okay, I'm here.
It's a bit formal for a podcast, isn't it?
Why aren't you wearing your tux?
I'm not wearing my tux. I'm doing a podcast.
I'm wearing my evening gown. You're supposed to be wearing your tux.
Why?
Because we're talking about spies.
Right, we're talking about spies. We're not going out and doing stuff that they're doing.
Well, no, but I figured a little...
And I don't think we have any money to go to Europe right now.
Oh,
no.
When the credit card bill comes in next week...
I'll hurt you.
Did I mention lately I love you, and doesn't my evening dress look pretty?
It does. Very pretty. You can be my Bella. We're on our way to Europe and some spy crazy stuff as we hit Eurospy films of the 1960s. Plus, we've got a silent classic, a silver stream of a favorite movie that's now on Amazon Video, and a lot more. And you're not going to pout the whole show, are you?
I'd rather be your pussy galore.
This is a family show. Shame on you. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
Stick around. We're on our way back out
for Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer.
Good evening, folks, and a hearty welcome to our Drive-In Theater.
Subject Cinema.
Drive-In Summer.
T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema.
Drive-In Summer. I gotta find my tinkly piano music now.
No.
Okay.
And if you call me that resting bitch face, Blandy McBland face again, I'm gonna be really mad.
Welcome to Subject Cinema. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I am Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer. Subject Cinema number 577, day and date August 6th, 2017.
Yep.
Wow, we're coming into our last few shows on Drive-In Summer. It's been a fun summer, and we hope that you'll comment on the show. Got some other stuff we're going to ask you to do later in the show. All free. It doesn't cost anything. Mm-hmm. Although we definitely would appreciate it if you would become a Patreon supporter. But the things I got today, I got a couple of things we're going to need your help with that are totally free. Just asking you to do a couple things quickly online for us. How was your week?
Fine, thanks. Not bad. Can't really complain. What about you?
Oh, I could complain a lot, but I won't.
Well, yeah.
Mainly about Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, we had the mother of storms hit right at the end of the day at work.
Yeah, Tuesday was fun.
If
you're into drowning.
How far would you say it is from the front door of work to the bus stop?
I'm not good with distances, but if I say...
It's maybe 40 yards.
If I had to measure it in time, I'd say it's a minute to walk from the stairs to the corner.
To the bus, if we're rushing.
It's
about 40 yards.
If it's a brisk walk.
The storm, of course, we had storms around us all day. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I forget which day it was.
Tuesday.
And they were all around us, and then, of course, right at going home time, 5 minutes before we got off, we had a mother of a thunderstorm open up around us where we work. Mm-hmm. So, it took us about 40 seconds to go from the stairs to the bus, which they were waiting for us because everybody was waiting under the canopy.
Yeah.
I ran. You kind of hobbled with your cane.
Yep.
And by the time we got in the bus, it felt like we'd been in a washing machine for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The wind was blowing about 60 miles an hour. The rain was going sideways. Mm-hmm. And just buckets of it.
Yep.
And I had suggested taking the other bus the other way, just to wait out the storm, because it's 15 minutes later. We found out later that was not the wise thing to do. They got flooded right down by the bus stop.
Yeah.
Where we get off.
So we both get on the bus. Somehow you managed to not be as soaked as me. I don't know how that happened. Maybe because I wasn't as going.
You were
as fast.
slower. Yeah, you were
I
slower.
wasn't going as fast as you, so the rain had more time to get me. And the wind was so completely insane. I am not a small person. As anybody who has seen us knows, I am not a small person. To say that I was afraid that the wind was literally going to throw me against the side of the bus is not an exaggeration.
No.
It was really that frightening. I mean, and
that was the worst. Honestly, I've lived, probably more than half my life at this point. And I've been in a lot of storms, including severe weather in Ohio all through my childhood.
You lived through a volcano in Washington.
And a tornado. And a hurricane. I lived through everything now.
And an earthquake. Yeah.
Granted, not all major ones. But,
no.
But still, that was the worst storm I have ever gone through.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that much lightning. It was all mostly rain and wind.
By the time we got out, no, but there was some lightning earlier on. Mm-hmm. Before the storm that hit us hit, we had a storm before that
just grazed us to the north. And there was a lot of lightning and thunder with that.
I'm like doing my work and doing the whole typey McComputer thing. And my...
Typey McComputer thing?
Yeah.
What do you think this is? Populaire?
I'm so technical.
Come on, Pumpkin. Get off that.
I'm so technical. And my coworkers are like, wow, did you see that lightning? And I'm like, nope. Because I'm sorry, when I type at my computer, I'm like, peck.
You are not.
Peck. I'm not very
Honestly.
fast. But my head is down and I don't look up. But it was crazy. We get in the bus.
Not to mention that you don't have a window seat like I do, except on the other side of the building.
We get to the bus. The right side of my clothes, all the way to my inner garments, are completely...
Her wonderful skinned personals.
Are completely soaked. I mean, drenched, deluged, flooded, soaking, frigging wet.
It was like going through a washing machine for 15 minutes.
My hair looks like I've just washed it without, putting any shampoo in it. It's all...
it was soaking wet. So was mine.
All hanging down in my face.
Right through my hat.
And because it's humid air, not super humid, but kind of humid, of course, what happens to some people when it gets humid, my hair frizzes. So my hair is all these long curls of wet gunk. And it's all...
It's not curls. You don't have curls.
Well, they're long...
Your ends are...
My ends curl up.
Yeah.
The ends of my hair curl up. So that's all dripping down in my face and dripping into my glasses. I'm like, this is fun. This is great.
And then we had a 15-minute wait for the train.
Yeah.
Which is normally 7 or 8 minutes.
But to be optimistic about it, I did say to you, it could have been worse. Think of it this way. This could all be snow.
Yes, it could have been.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, that was our week.
New England weather. If you don't like it, wait 2 minutes. It'll change.
We'll kick into high gear. We're going to head to Europe this week.
Yes.
And another genre of drive-in fare from the 60s and 70s and even modern times.
Yep.
Although not as much.
Not as much.
As we touch on the Eurospy craze on this week's Microfocus. Subject Cinema Microfocus. So, what do the names Charles Vine, or James Taunt mean to you?
Nothing.
Oh, that's mean.
Sorry.
In the 1960s, Europe was obsessed with James Bond clones.
Yeah.
And they became known as the Eurospy genre.
Well, technically, isn't James Bond a Eurospy?
He is, but he's a high-priced, big-budget Eurospy.
He's a competent Eurospy, which makes him different from a lot of people on.
Well, no, a lot of
that's
these,
not nice.
A lot of these were competent, except the ones played for comedy, like the James Bond films.
Right.
But we won't even get into the ones America made at the time, because I'll give you a preview right now, 6 months in advance. 6 months? 7 months in advance. We're going to be focusing on one set of spy movies for all of Masochistic March next year. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to, I mean, I love them. Kim, it's like pulling hair out, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. You figure it out if you've listened to the show.
Gird your loins, girls. Mm-hmm.
And get Dino another glass. Oh, sorry. The Eurospy stuff, I never really got into until we started seeing some of these trailers on the discs, and then later on, a lot of them showed up on Mystery Science Theater 3000's original run.
Well, you know, it's a really old story. You know, the whole tale as old as time kind of a thing. I thought
that was Beauty and the Beast.
Well, yes, but, you know,
okay.
I'm not going to sing it. The whole idea that, you know, somebody makes money doing something and everybody else looks and goes, hey, they made money doing that. Let's do that too.
But can I point out something?
Sure.
I don't mean to offend anybody in the country when I say this.
Duck.
The Italian film studios are experts at bad ripoffs. And it isn't just Italian films.
No.
They're almost as bad as India and Turkey.
Wow.
And I mean, well, Turkey's the king, from what I've heard. I've not seen any of the Turkish stuff, and I've heard the Turkish Star Wars is terrible. But
yeah, I haven't watched the Turkish Star Wars because
you don't want to have to go hurt somebody.
No, I don't want to have to get on the internet and go into a 30 or 40 hour shrieking rant about what they did wrong.
But I mean,
I've seen trailers for the Indian Superman, and that was.
Oh yeah, I have too. For instance, Italians, America made Jaws. Italians gave us Great White and Tentacles. America makes another big, another kind of monster film, and they come out with their own. You end up with, wasn't Star Crash Italian?
I'm not sure. I'll check.
And then,
but every once in a while they get it right.
They do every once in a while. We'll talk about one of those in a little bit.
I mean, strangely, it's not from copying us, though.
No.
I mean, you get a film like Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo. Sergio Leone takes that, moves it to the American Southwest, gets fistful of dollars, and makes Clint Eastwood a star.
Right.
So every once in a while it does work, but more often it does not.
Yes, and the Italians had a great deal of fun doing all kinds of 007 ripoffs in the 1960s. A lot of them were badly dubbed and put into American drive-ins and later on late-night television in the 70s and 80s. I remember seeing them in the TV Guide all the time when I was a kid. And I'm like, oh my God, really? Because James Bond, I mean, let's talk just 60s. James Bond is Sean Connery. You don't mess with Sean Connery. And then you look at something like Operation Kid Brother, which stars his brother as himself. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Neil Connery.
Eek. Neil Connery.
Yeah, that really doesn't have the same kind of oomph to it, does it? The Eurospy films, obviously, like I mentioned, the whole thing started because the James Bond movies hit, Dr. No hit, and everybody lost their friggin' minds. The next 2 years afterwards was the first ones that were recorded as, you know, being actual Eurospy films. So that would have been 1964. The whole thing about the Eurospy craze is basically the idea of, well, we'll copy the whole James Bond thing, but we're not going to be as particular about having people with, you know, charisma,
talent,
writing skills, acting skills, directing skills.
Although, in all fairness, none of these are Godfrey Ho.
Well, no,
no,
because all of these are the same movie. for the most part.
Yeah, they're
not
pretty
five
much.
movies crazy glued together. You know?
Yeah, the secret agent gets sent over to Europe somewhere, to some fictitious country, finds a pretty bombshell waiting for him, and another pretty bombshell waiting to kill him, and they team up and do all this other stuff, and one of them gets grabbed, he goes, saves her. They screw like bunnies, and the end.
Yeah. He pretty much described the plot of most of those films. If it had been a Godfrey Ho film, though, there would have been ninjas in there.
There would have been people wearing headbands that said ninjas. Yes, I know.
Godfrey Ho made a spy movie. They'd all have bandanas that said spy. Anyway.
No. If Godfrey Ho made one of these, it would be Ninja Spy Europe.
So that the bandana would say Ninja Spy?
Ninja Europe. Ninja. No, I'd still say it would be, James Bond clone, and then he'd suddenly teleport to wherever he could be in his gi and his headband that said ninja to fight the Odd Job character.
Anyway, we're being really
mean. We are
mean.
being really
Okay.
mean, but Godfrey Ho deserves it. Anyway.
The thing is, a lot of the films that came out during the Eurospy era, the French and the Italians, there were a lot of the films that they actually put 007 in the title.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they thought they could get away with that. I'm serious.
Well, why did the Italians think they could get away with Great White, which is a direct ripoff of Jaws 2? Almost shot for shot.
No, that's true. No, you're not wrong about that. But I mean, at least they didn't say, at least it was something that was slightly different.
Yeah.
They didn't actually put, Great White with killer jaws something like that.
Right,
They
true.
actually put 007 in the titles of their movies, to the point where United Artists finally went, no.
Well, actually, they didn't actually do 007. They did 077 in most of them to try and confuse people. Because they couldn't use the 007. Or when they tried, they knew they were going to get in trouble and tried to go with the 077.
The thing is, they tried first with the 007, and then United Artists went, no. So they started being sneaky about it, like you mentioned, and they'd be like, okay, so we'll do 077 or 001 or something like that. Something that, when you looked at it really quickly, would confuse people. It's like the whole thing they did after Bruce Lee passed away, where they would have a movie poster that would say, the next Bruce Lee! And then in tiny, tiny letters, Jackie Chan.
Yeah, Jackie talks about that in Chopsaki.
That kind of a deal, and I've already mentioned how incredibly
it's just like that James Tong. The original one was, he's known as Agent 00007.
Mm-hmm.
What? That doesn't even make sense.
That's going to look fantastic on an ID card. 00007. That's great.
No, it's probably written out 00007. It's probably where they got the idea for the Zoom jingle. 02134. Anyway.
I doubt that.
Hey, those writers might have been that right age.
Well, maybe.
You never know.
As TC's mentioned just quickly, the James Taunt films, those were actually done as a spoof, though.
Those were comedies,
so
yes. Those were deliberate comedies.
That was, a lot of these are comedies, but the thing is, the comedy's unintentional.
Yeah, well, no. That's not what, this was intentional. And the Taunt movies, were they Italian or French?
I believe those are Italian.
Those were Italian? Oh, yeah, yeah. And
Yes, they are Italian.
Yeah. But the other ones were meant to be serious. They were just funny because they were just so bad.
That's what I mean. The laughter in those is because you're just going, oh man, really? The James Taunt films directed by the first one was directed by Bruno Corbucci. The first one is called James Taunt Operazione Uno, which is from 1965. And they weren't even trying to not, plagiarize stuff or at least hide it under parody stuff.
No, and the theme was Goldfinger with different lyrics. Remember, at least in the trailer.
Yeah, and there's a woman character in it called Goldslinger. Really,
Yeah.
really.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what? Like you mentioned, some of them are supposed to be serious, but there are other ones besides the Taunt films which are supposed to be silly, and those would include the French films, which are based on the novels about a spy named Francis Copland, who is French, and a secret agent who was created by the author is listed as Paul Kenny, and that was actually two authors from Belgium named Gaston I'm going to screw this up. Gaston van der Panthuis, I guess, and Jean Lebert. So I don't even know if I was remotely close on that. And he starts off as an electronics engineer and winds up becoming a spy at some point. And they did let me see here, 2, 4, they did 6 films with him, with titles like that translate to English. Things like To Catch a Spy, FX-18 Secret Agent, The Spy I Love. Gee, I wonder what that's supposed to be like. FX Super Spy, FX-18 Super Spy, Mexican Sleigh Ride, SLAYRIDE.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
And Copland Saves His Skin. And they actually did try to do a television series about this character. In 1989, was a French series and only ran for 5 episodes. That, like we mentioned, Dino De Laurentiis actually did one as well. It was called Kiss the Girls and Make Them Die, which was filmed in Rio. And it had an actual cast of people actually...
It was a higher budgeted film starring Touch Connors, although he got Mike by that
there
point.
There were actually people in this film that people knew before the film.
Yeah.
People like you mentioned, Mike Connors, who would go on to be TV's Mannix.
That's not fair. A lot of Eurospy movies would recruit lead actors that were known for character parts in America. Richard Harrison did a few of them. Ty Harden did a couple of them. Mm-hmm. We just lost Ty this weekend. A whole bunch of, the lesser. Nick Adams did 1 or 2, didn't he not?
Yeah.
Did he not?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Peter Mark Richmond would do a few of those before doing a TV pilot that was terrible called Agent for Harm. Or Agent from Harm, sorry.
Harm, yeah. Which wound up being on Mystery Science
another
Theater
one of them,
3000, deservedly
and who's
so.
the guy that was in the one I'm thinking of here is the one with Marissa Mel, which is Secret Agent Super Dragon.
Yes, which also made an appearance on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Who was in that, though? Somebody big was in that, or well known at least.
You mean besides her?
No, the lead actor.
Oh, you mean
I'm just trying to find it here because I just saw it.
I got it. Secret Agent Super Dragon, which is a French, German, and Italian film. And what do they say about
Ray Danton was the star of that. He was a character actor that was well known.
Yeah. He was another one of those, hey, it's that guy type people. I'm sorry, but if you're calling your...
The end of that movie is just absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, I know. The whole movie is ridiculous. I mean, you like watching it for...
It's Marissa Mel. Of course I'm going to like watching it.
I was going to say, you like watching it, and I could sum it up
she'll figure into our Attack of the Bee movies later, too.
You like that movie for 2 reasons, and they're both on Marissa Mel. I meant her eyes.
I think she's, actually, that's what does attract me to her. She's gorgeous, and her eyes are beautiful.
She's a very lovely lady. But I'm sorry, when your male lead is Secret Agent Super Dragon, and his actual, code name is Super Dragon. Really?
It could be worse than the subgenre.
That's a terrible agent name.
A subgenre came out on these, although a lot of them aren't really considered Eurospy. They're considered spy-fi films, where the films with Super Argo, and which was a superhero character who was a spy.
Yeah.
What? And there were 2 or 3 of those other 3 Fantastic Supermen films, which were kind of like superhero spies meets the Three Stooges.
Acrobat stuff.
Yeah. They were terrible.
But I do have to kind of raise a little bit of a fuss here.
Yeah, go ahead.
You just kind of rolled your eyes at the whole idea of a superhero spy. Isn't that what Natasha Romanoff is?
Well, yeah, but she's not really a superhero in the sense that this movie portrays her to be. As far as Natasha is concerned, in the Marvel universe, she's an operative for Nick Fury. She's a SHIELD agent.
Yeah.
She's not
But
agent.
she is referred to as a superhero or superheroine.
She is because Black Widow is her code name, and she's not technically the same Black Widow that's in the comics. I mean, Natasha is an out-and-out superhero in the comics. In the movies, she's not. She's a spy who just happens to be working with Captain America, Hulk, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So
happens to be played by Scarlett Johansson.
We one segment mentioning both Marissa Mel and Scarlett Johansson. Wow, I'm going to have fun. I need a cold shower later. Okay.
And yet he's with me. Life can really be cruel sometimes.
No. I already told you once you're my Bella.
And what did I tell you about calling
You're not quite as clumsy.
Bland McBland face? What did I tell you about that?
I get some tinkly music.
Would you stop?
Okay, fine.
The whole spy thing, obviously, I mean, you can't really say that it didn't spread to Europe, outside of Europe as well.
Oh, sure. Dean Martin's...
The continent had him, besides the continent, you also had them in Britain with...
and America.
And America. You had them in Britain with Casino Royale from 1967.
Which is the spoof. And you also had Americans... She hates that movie.
I hate that movie.
It's not that bad. It's Orson Welles as Le Chiffre. Please, don't give me crap about that.
Orson Welles could be in crappy movies, honey.
I know that. I'm well aware of that. And the Americans gave us the Matt Hell movies with Dean Martin and the Flint movies with James Coburn.
Yeah.
So those were pretty much limited, though, to those here in America.
That's true.
TV, they weren't. The Eurospy craze was helpful in spawning The Man from U.N.C.L.E., The Avengers, which was a British show.
The Avengers, actually,
It started as a cop show, but by the time it got to where Bond was, by the time Diana Rigg came in, it was clearly a Bond clone.
Yeah. By the time Emma Peel, played by Dame Diana Rigg, and was amazing. We're not worthy.
Yes, absolutely. That's three. Now I got 3. You keep piling them on.
Wouldn't you like that?
I love Diana Rigg.
Family show. Anyway, by the time Emma Peel came along in the Avengers, it was a spy show. By the time I would say by the time the end of Diana Rigg's run through Linda Thorson's run as Tara King, I would actually put that as spy-fi.
Yeah.
Myself, because
especially the Linda Thorson series.
It got more science fiction.
Weird, yeah.
Stuff. Not that that's bad. I mean, I liked it, but you know.
I had a thought, but I've lost it.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. There was the other series. Robert Vaughn starred in, and I can't remember the name of it. Was it The Protectors or The Defenders? Robert Vaughn and Nairi Dawn Porter.
Oh, I don't remember.
That was a half-an-hour series. And Tony Anholt was in that too, I believe. And it's like...
From Space 1999?
Yeah, I think that's where he started. And it's like, it ran in the mid-'70s. It was a half-hour program. And our local channel carried it at 10:30 in the evening on Sunday nights, because NBC's shows ended at 10:30 instead of 11. So, I don't know. But that was another Eurospy type thing.
Now, would you consider The Prisoner to be Eurospy or
Secret Agent was. I don't know about The Prisoner. Prisoner's more sci-fi.
Yeah, I was going to say, The Prisoner's more spy-fi. I would consider it more spy-fi.
And Mission Impossible was inspired by that, too, when you think about it, the TV series.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I would kind of say yes, I agree with that. I wouldn't... The Protectors, I think, is what you're thinking of, the Robert Vaughn show.
I couldn't remember which the name of the show was. The Defenders was Roger Moore and somebody. And that was, I can't remember what that was.
There have been, the Eurospy films have gone on since the 60s. Jean Dujardin, the star of The Artist, has been in a couple of them, including OSS 117 Cairo Nest of Spies, which came out in 2006 and is set in 1955, and OSS 117 Lost in Rio, which came out in 2009, was set in 1967, and I'm confusing myself.
They were both huge hits, too, in France. They were monsters, and they actually did well in the indie market here in America.
We saw the trailer for one of them, and you were kind of like,
Yeah, well, I didn't know who Jean Dujardin was at the time either. Because they came out 3 years before The Artist. So
we saw the trailer, and I realized it's set back in the 60s, so there's, sexism and all this stuff like that, because that was the time. But I'm sitting there going, what did he just say?
The most popular of the Eurotrash revivals was the Austin Powers series.
Definitely.
Mike Myers, Canadian, playing Austin Powers, Brit, with a bunch of Americans running around as his seconds.
The first one, she was English.
Yeah, she was. The first one was good. The first one was Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. The second one, which is my favorite of the three of them, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and the third one, which was just awful, which was Goldmember. Austin Powers was a character right out of those 60s.
Yeah.
Except he was a exaggerated parody of them.
Well, that was the whole point.
Because nobody was quite... all the Eurospy guys were suave, debonair, suit-wearing, tie-wearing guys. Austin Powers was part of the swinger crowd.
Yeah.
Although he was still a spy for Michael York.
Right.
So...
The whole thing with Austin's character is the fact that he is this guy from the 60s who winds up frozen and winds up being brought back to consciousness in the 90s?
Late 90s.
Late 90s. And finding out that the world has changed a lot since the 60s, that you can't basically walk up to a girl and sexually harass her anymore. I realize I'm being a bit harsh there, I'm sorry, but, some of the stuff that he says to girls... most of the time you'd probably get a knee in the groin and pepper sprayed. But,
rumor is that there's a fourth one in the works.
Oh, gosh, why?
Yeah, because I don't really want to see...
I didn't see either of them.
Goldmember was terrible, and it was just like...
I didn't see either of the first two in the theater. I did see The Spy Who Shagged Me on cable.
We saw both of them on video, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I did. I've seen all three of them.
And you dragged me to Goldmember, and I was like, this sucks.
Well, that's because The Spy Who Shagged Me was so good. It was funny as hell. And then, Goldmember was a disaster, so not going there. Of all the ones that we've actually seen, most of which have been on Mystery Science Theater 3000, would you agree that Secret Agent Super Dragon probably hits the lowest point, or is that Operation Kid Brother?
Operation Kid Brother.
What's a little bit about that one?
That Operation... Do I have to?
I think for people... This is how they got their money.
Yeah, I know.
They made a clone, literal clone, of James Bond, right down to M... and Moneypenny.
Right.
Were both a part of this film.
I know. Operation Kid Brother, which is from 1967, directed by Alberto De Martino. Obviously, and I shouldn't say obviously, but it was an Italian film. It is the plot of such is that when a famous spy, which seems like an oxymoron. If you're a famous spy, you're not doing your job terribly well. Well, you're not.
True.
No, seriously.
You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you.
If you're a spy, nobody's supposed to know who you are.
No, nobody's supposed to know you're a spy. They can know you.
Well,
Yeah.
So it turns out that another agent who's named Miss Maxwell, played by Lois Maxwell, that's just lazy, is sent to find the late spy's girlfriend, who has some information that's important, but she doesn't know that she has it. She finds out that the girlfriend is in the care of Dr. Neil Connery, who is a cosmetic surgeon who uses, as part of his practice, the art of hypnotism. Don't even ask me why. And it
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That seems like an awfully odd thing to use in plastic surgery, but whatevs. The whole thing of it turns out that he winds up being basically requested to step in and serve his country and all that blah blah, and finds out that the bad guys are part of a group called Thanatos. Because Evil McBad Guy Inc. wasn't available, I guess. Somebody already had that. And their plan to build a super magnet, which is going to be powerful enough to turn off all of the machines and all of the technical stuff and technology and stuff and basically cripple the world, at least from New York to Moscow.
Da da da!
Again, whatevs. The end of the film has Dr. Connery triumphing over the bad guys of Thanatos, and Commander Cunningham, who is the head of the British Secret Intelligence, responds, gives him the gold stamp seal of approval line of, "Okay, Connery, you are almost better than your brother."
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Okay, Connery was the second title for the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is available. If you look for it on Amazon or Netflix, you can find quite a bit of it. And it's also, some of them are available on Fandor. There's quite a bit of different types, and some of them are quite entertaining, even if they're not especially good. They're entertaining in the, kind of entertainment.
Just real quick, the people involved with Operation Kid Brother did include Neil Connery, and yes, he is related.
And he's Sean Connery's brother.
Yep. Also, Adolfo Celli, who was a Bond bad guy, and who we'll talk about in a minute also, in another film.
Yeah.
Bernard Lee and Lois Maxwell, who all should have just known
better.
And a gentleman named Guido Lollobrigida, who is a cousin to Italian actress Gina Lollobrigida.
I would have never guessed.
Which I just like saying because it's a really fun name to say.
like Titicaca? Anyway, wow. Animaniacs reference. The movie we're going to do in Attack of the B-Movies isn't quite an Eurospy film.
No.
But it does fit into the mold, and we will be back with that
when Subject Cinema returns.
Subject Cinema! Lively as summer!
Want to know what new films are coming out this weekend? Hi, I'm T.C. Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out 3 Minute Weekend, our weekly roundup of all the new films hitting U.S. theaters each weekend. We've got the 411 on all the new blockbusters, indies, and video on-demand choices for you each week. 3 Minute Weekend, every Friday morning from Subject Cinema and eCinema1.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service. Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer is co-presented by Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in, from director April Wright. You can check it out right now on Amazon Prime or order the DVD at goingattractions.com.
Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in movie. A new documentary available now on DVD. The collector's edition is loaded with special features. You can get Going Attractions in your snack bar now.
Don't forget to subscribe to Subject Cinema on iTunes. Click on the iTunes link on our sidebar or search for Subject Cinema on iTunes. Once you're there, click subscribe. It's that easy. And don't forget to leave us a comment on our iTunes page and tell everyone what you think of Subject Cinema too.
Subject Cinema! Lively as summer!
Is the next step the transplantation of the human brain?
The giant locusts have reached the Chicago South Side and nearby suburbs.
Flag on the moon. How did it get there? That bird is extraterrestrial.
Now that's ridiculous, Eulabelle.
Jerry just tried to kill me twice in the last 5 minutes.
Because all you of Earth are idiots. There are eyewitness accounts which state that monster scorpions have swarmed around the wreckage.
Movies.
Meet Diabolik, a bank Robin Hood who baffles the cops. He robs from the rich to give to the girls. Master sports car racer. Master lover. Ask Eva. She can't get a good night's sleep unless she's covered with money.
I don't know whether or not this actually classifies as a B movie, but because we're doing the Attack of the B Movies this summer, we're throwing this in here, and it's actually another offshoot of the Eurospy genre. It was not a big hit on its initial release in 1967, but it became a cult hit, and to the point where it is absolutely, if I had to pick it's probably somewhere on my top 100 films of all time, because I enjoy watching it with the stylish look. I adore the soundtrack, and it's just like, you can't get away from it when you're watching it. I first saw it when it showed up as the final episode of the original Mystery Science Theater 3000, and since have seen the unedited version on DVD, which is unfortunately out of print. Give us the rundown on Danger Diabolik.
Okay. Danger Diabolik is the story of Diabolik, who is a thief and a sort of Robin Hood character-ish, kind of.
He's Robin, no Hood.
Yeah, he's the Robin part. He, instead of being like Robin Hood,
he robs the rich to give to himself.
Yeah, and the blonde bird that he's bonking.
Yes.
Which, if she was my girlfriend, I'd give her anything she wanted to. As we mentioned, he is a thief and doesn't just steal small stuff. Oh no, that would be entirely too easy. His first caper that we see at the beginning of the film is him stealing an armored car, which has encased within $10 million, which is probably like $7 kajillion in European money. I don't know.
Not to mention inflation.
Yeah, and like stuff like that, which I don't get because it's math and that hurts. Because of all of his crimes and all of his stealing and the fact that he tends to kill a lot of people when he steals stuff. I mean, this is going to sound like an odd way to put it. He kills a lot of people, but you don't feel like, oh my gosh, outrage and all this stuff like that, because he's not killing innocent people. He's killing like guards and stuff like that.
Well, guards are innocent.
I realize that, but the movie seems to be like, oh well, don't worry about that. They work for the establishment. Screw them.
Exactly.
You know, that's the way.
This is a very damn the man movie.
Yeah, completely. So because of all of his hijinks and murders, the death penalty has been brought back on the table exclusively for him. He should feel flattered. The police, needless to say, because in this film they are idiots with a capital id, cannot find Diabolik.
No, they're not. They're just not. They're 2 steps behind Diabolik.
Oh,
they're not idiots.
These people make the Keystone Cops look like Starsky and Hutch.
I don't agree with that.
All right.
Especially the lead inspector.
Well, Inspector Ginkgo, I thought it was Jenko, but I guess it's Ginkgo.
It's Jenko in the American dubbed version, so that's why we know that was Jenko.
We had to see this dubbed, so sorry. He's got a real mad-on for Diabolik and is willing to cheese off all of the criminals around the country which Diabolik is in. We're assuming it's Italy. You know, he's making all these raids and busting up all the other criminals, organizations, basically to let them know, if you don't help us find Diabolik, we're going to make your lives very unpleasant.
Yeah.
This burns the bacon of crime boss Valmont, who is sick and tired of the police, giving him grief and stuff like that. So his idea is, okay, we'll go find Diabolik and we'll capture him for the police because we know a lot of underground people and other assorted scum and villainy that can, find the guy that the cops can't do. So now Diabolik has the cops and the crooks looking for him. Is he worried? Hell no.
He's Dia-freaking-Bolik.
Yep. He's got a super cool car, a banging girlfriend, and this
great music.
And this leather outfit thing that I don't even want to discuss how hot that must be.
It's not leather. I think it's rubber.
That's even
it's worse, but
yeah.
it's rubber. It's
That's
tight,
even worse.
skin-tight rubber in most cases. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting look. It's like an S&M ninja. It's really different.
No, don't bring up ninjas in this, because I don't want to think of Godfrey Ho getting his attention on this. Please,
I know.
I love this movie.
Valmont comes up with the brilliant idea of having Eva get kidnapped, because that should get Diabolik's attention. And guess what? That works. And guess what else? It pisses him off. And Diabolik is not someone you want angry at you, because the body count starts going ding, 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 higher and higher and higher. A meeting on Valmont's plane turns out to be disastrous for everybody and the plane.
Except Diabolik.
Who winds up getting away and rescuing Eva. Involving a whole faking his death thing and being able to, because he learned how to do it from a lama from Tibet, because they just teach that to anybody, I guess. Whatever. It's making my head hurt. Valmont, on the other hand, winds up croaking. Now, during all of this mess, Diabolik had also been on a caper. The caper involved stealing a beautiful emerald necklace, which I have to admit, I was like, ooh, shiny, want one of those. Somehow he managed to get the necklace onto Valmont, and when his ashes were burned, the emerald somehow didn't burn?
No, they wouldn't have. It wasn't high enough.
Okay. And the emeralds are perfectly fine in the ashes, never mind they're surrounded by dead guy. Ew. In disguise, Diabolik takes the urn holding the ashes and winds up splitting. So the police have now been really made fools of and are mega friggin' pissed. And there is now...
No, when we say police, we don't mean the local bobbies. We're talking about whatever the equivalent of the FBI is in Italy.
Yeah.
That's got to make
people who all should have been fired
it's the
by
national
now.
Police.
Because they really suck at their job.
Yeah.
There's now, on top of the death penalty, there is $1 million reward out for Diabolik's capture, which he responds to by blowing up the tax offices. On the weekend when there's nobody there. Because that makes it better, because that would be wrong to blow it up with people.
Well, he's blowing up the records, so people don't have any records of what taxes the people owe.
Right.
So that makes him kind of the hood part of Robin Hood.
I guess.
Yeah.
The
same.
Except for any poor bastard that happened to be driving by when the buildings exploded. But you can kill all the guards you want, but killing secretaries? Oh no, Diabolik has standards. Anyway, moving on.
Damn straight, Pumpkin.
I love you too, Zucchini.
It's courgette to you.
You keep calling me Pumpkin, I'm going to keep calling you that. Anyway. So the police come up with the brilliant idea of trying to lure him out of hiding so they can catch him. Also, by, having to deal with the fact that because the tax offices got blown up, everybody's scrambling for trying to do, find out who knows what now, because nobody knows. I mean, I don't know why they can't look it up on their computer. It's just,
so anyway, they bait him with a gold shipment. We're running too long with this. So
20 tons of gold, which he winds up stealing relatively easily.
By melting it.
Yeah. Because that's going to work. So, Diabolik...
Well, it would if he could get something hot enough. But I kind of
but I'm sorry,
doubt that's possible.
I don't care if you throw it into the middle of the sun. It's not going to melt that quickly.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
He's like there for 2 seconds and it's bloosh. I'm like, no, that is not the way that's going to work. You fail chemistry forever.
Movie time.
So they bring the gold back to their super secret, robbery cave. They can't call it a bat cave.
They have a house inside of a cave.
Yeah, under a mountain or something or whatever.
It's a futuristic, cool house. I'd love to have that.
Yeah. So
Kim would go out of her mind.
Diabolik is melting the gold and remelting it, melting it so that it's being put into these gold ingots things. Right. As he's doing this, wearing this really odd outfit, to protect himself, because it's supposedly so protective he could swim through the center of the sun or some I'm like, how do you know that?
Volcano, they said, yeah.
Whatever. I'm like, yeah. I don't even want to know how you tested that. The police show up while all this is going on, and
they were tracking the gold. Yeah, they had set it up so they could track the gold by irradiating.
Yeah, they made the gold radioactive. What? So anyway. When the police show up, the natural thing occurs, which is a shootout. And because he's still holding on to the pipe that is funneling the heated gold into the ingot things, stuff goes rapidly wrong, and...
Boom!
Boom.
Covered in gold, melted gold.
And there is molten gold everywhere. including all over Diabolik, who's frozen in this sort of statue-like pose. And the police apparently believe he's been cooked alive because he's like, now a kind of avant-garde Oscar kind of a thing.
Yeah. Although his eyes are open. Does that make any sense?
Well, you can die with your eyes open.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
they figure he's suffocated or something. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
The police, sealed the cabin off as a crime scene, and they intend to come and, get the gold later. I'm like, how? It's all, like, attached to rocks and stuff.
Melted it off with Diabolik's melter thing.
Eva, who comes back in, sneaks back in wearing an outfit that makes her look like she's being birthed out the backside of a bear. She does, really.
She does, yeah.
And she's, like, mourning Diabolik and, like, caressing his body, which is encased in gold, and it's more than a little creepy. And all of a sudden, Diabolik looks down at her and winks. And she realizes, oh my gosh, he's not dead. Inspector Jenko leads her away, like, being tender because he doesn't realize Diabolik is still alive. Diabolik looks up at the camera, winks again. The scene fades to black as we hear Diabolik laughing, Finny.
With Jean-Philippe Law as Diabolik, Marissa Mel as Eva Kent, Michael Piccoli as Inspector Jenko/Ginkgo, and Adolfo Celli as Ralph Valmont, plus Terry Thomas as first the Minister of the Interior, then the Minister of Finance, and a bunch of other Italian actors. I enjoyed this movie from the very beginning. I love the score. It's very annoying the first time you hear it. Because how did Tom Servo put it when he was at the beginning of the movie?
Gotta practice my lick.
Yeah, it's
only 1 hour more.
Yeah, it's one.
It's one guitar chord over and over and over again.
The score was one of the first major scores by Ennio Morricone. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to get a hold of.
That Ennio Morricone.
I've lucked out and found 2 or 3 pieces online, and I tried to buy the DVD of the CD of the soundtrack when we went to a con. They wanted $375 for it. I'm like, I can't afford that. Sorry. But the soundtrack is awesome. This movie was actually shot before Barbarella. They actually shared sets because Barbarella got postponed. Jean-Philippe Law did this first, then Barbarella, although Barbarella came out first in America. Mm-hmm. So it's
and it would have been a very different movie if the studios hadn't been a bunch of mean, cheap bastards.
Well, not only that, they didn't like the early footage. They said it was cheap looking.
Yeah. This film was produced by Tonino Cervi. It is based on a well-known comic called Diabolik.
Which gives me hope that the Valerian will become a cult hit the way that Diabolik
Which was actually written by 2 women, which shocks the crap out of me. Diabolik, the comic series, was written by Angela and Luciana Guisani, and it became this, very popular series in Italy, and then they decided, well, we'll make it a movie. So, producer Cervi got started on this and first hired a director named Seth Holt, who is probably best known as being he is a director, producer, editor, that kind of stuff. Directed a bunch of other things. The only one I've ever heard. Well, he directed The Nanny, which is a film from Betty Davis, and also 1971's Blood on the Mummy's Tomb. Holt's vision was completely different from the Mummy's Tomb, I should say. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. His vision was completely different, including an international cast, including people like George Raft, Jean Sorel, Elsa Martinelli.
It was also supposed to be more humorous because there was another film around, which is a cult hit too, called Fantomas, which we've seen the trailers for.
Yep.
Haven't seen the film, which was more of a Eurospy comedy. Mm-hmm. And that's what they wanted to go for here, and they didn't do it. Thankfully.
Well, the problem was the producer Dino De Laurentiis saw the footage and said nope. He felt that he brought the whole production to a screeching halt and had a new director brought in, a new cast, new screenplay. The new director was Mario Bava, I think more well known as an Italian director of horror films.
Giallo films, yeah.
And some very, very dark Italian horror.
Yeah.
Okay. Diabolik is, it's an entertaining
Diabolik
film.
is awesome. It's just an awesome film.
I'm not sure I'd go that far.
I love this film.
I know you do. Well, that's great. Obviously, a lot of people love it because it's...
We were talking about how I'm not a big fan of guy films.
Yeah,
This is a guy film. I love Diabolik.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah. It was released in... The title is Danger Diabolik, actually. That's the original title.
Yeah,
it was
Diabolik
here
in Europe and Danger Diabolik here in the States, yeah.
Diabolik. Obviously, other people have felt that this, film had an impact on them. The Beastie Boys video "Body Movin'" is basically taken right from this movie.
If I can find it, I'll have a link to it in the show notes because
Yeah.
the video is an amazing recreation of this film.
The thing is, obviously, when you look at a character like Diabolik, he's supposed to be the good guy.
He's the anti-hero.
This film, again, product of the 60s, so the anti-hero vibe is definitely prevalent, so that it's okay for him to mow down as many police and security guards and stuff like that as he likes.
Because damn the man.
Yeah, because they're the establishment, capital E. And that's okay, according to this movie.
And wasn't Italy still sort of a semi-fascist government at the time when it came to taxes and stuff?
I don't really know. Well, obviously, pretty much...
Spain, its nearby neighbor, was.
Well, I know pretty much any country that has a film where you've got somebody blowing up the tax offices, everybody's going to view that as wish fulfillment. You know, I mean, let's be honest, folks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I wouldn't call this a Eurospy film. Obviously.
No, it's spy-fi.
I wouldn't even call it a spy. Well, there's no spy aspect to it, though. He's not a spy.
Well, no.
I mean,
you don't have to have a spy to be a spy-fi.
Well, I mean, I would come up with my own name for it, but I can't think of anything else to dub Euro-sociopath, so I'm just gonna, leave it alone. I mean, it is an entertaining film, and
the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version is funny as hell.
Oh,
and
it is.
It's best because it's the last show.
It's the last show that was, that was the last final episode
on Sci-Fi Channel.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the riffs are screamingly funny. John Philip Law, who cuts a really nice figure in the rubber outfit, which I have to say looks like it was a bear to run around in.
Probably.
And he does a lot. I'm assuming that's him doing all the running and flipping and jumping and kicking and all that stuff.
And most of his own driving.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't have asked it first. I'm sure he didn't ask for a stunt double with the stuff with
Marissa Mel. No.
Marissa Mel either. I don't think any guy would.
No. I gotta say, I want that house. I know you couldn't stand it because it's underground.
No.
It was spacious, though.
Yeah, it was spacious, but you're underground. Bats. There's,
not always.
I don't want to do. I don't want to deal. So it's fun if you get a chance to find the Misty version, which may be available on Netflix. It's not.
No.
Damn. I do know it is available on one of the sets yet. No.
No. It will be.
I know we taped it.
Shout Factory does have the rights to release all of Mystery Science Theater 3000 now. They're still working on the rights to some of the shows, but they're working on it and will eventually get it out on DVD.
I hope so.
In the meantime, I will have a link if I can find it. I don't know if it's available streaming or not because I didn't chat beforehand, but I did know that we wanted to do this because of the show. If you've never seen it, look around for it because it's a real masterpiece of visual and the amazing score.
Oh, visually it's beautiful.
From Ennio Morricone. It is violent. It is funny as hell in places, both intentionally and unintentionally. The line that they use in Mystery Science Theater 3000,
this is for the stinger,
however, is not actually in the original film because there are two different dubbed dialogue versions. Mm-hmm. The correct version that's on the commercial DVD is "Who is that coming? It must be Stud," which is Adolfo Celi's character. In the Mystery Science Theater 3000, they had the earlier version, and it said, "Is that Stud coming?" Not touching that one.
That's
anyway,
highly personal.
It is. Danger Diabolik from 1967. If you've never seen it, or 68, excuse me. If you've never seen it, check it out. Find it. You will enjoy it.
The best movies. Subject Cinema.
Want to know what top titles from film and TV are hitting home video this week? Hi, I'm TC Kirkham of Subject Cinema, inviting you to check out Tuesday Digidex, our weekly roundup of all the new home video releases in the U.S. each week. Whether it's DVD, Blu-ray, or streaming you're looking for, we've got it covered. Tuesday Digidex, every Tuesday morning, from Subject Cinema at ecinema1.com, a PNRNetworks podcast powered by Libsyn. Subscribe on iTunes or your favorite podcast service.
Na 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 Pee-wee. And holy rusted metal, it's Aunt B too.
Hi, I'm Aunt B. Join myself and Pee-wee every week as we cover comic books, comic stuff that's happening on TV, comics in the movies.
And we'll be doing it all in our tightest tights and our capiest capes in our secret lair.
Comic Grotto, where two guys light up the bat signal. www.comicgrotto.com.
Subject Cinema, drive-in summer.
Kim loves to occasionally indulge in some really classic films that she's never had a chance to see. And this week she had that chance. Mm-hmm. Turner Classic Movies has been showing theme nights all month. And one night they were showing and showcasing the films of the legendary Lon Chaney. Senior, not junior. And she got to see the original Phantom of the Opera for the first time.
Well, not for the all the way through.
All the way through the first time. Yeah.
I caught it when I was younger, about halfway through. So, 1925's The Phantom of the Opera is the story based on the novel by Gaston Leroux, which came out in 1910. It is a silent film. It is the story of the Paris Opera House, which has just been sold to a pair of brothers who are very dismissive of the information they get from the previous owners, who tell them about the opera's ghost, that there is this alleged ghost that sits in one opera box and that, you know, he is to be left alone. They basically poo-poo the whole idea, which doesn't end very well. The opera right now that they're putting on is Faust, and the opera is the home of, you know, the opera troupe, obviously the opera company, and there is a young lady that's a member of the company. Her name is Christine, and Christine is very young and pretty, but she's not the star, and she is also the lover of, well, she's loved by a Viscount. His name is Raoul de Chagny. And Raoul is in love with her very desperately. And he's all like, I love you, come away with me, and all this. And she's like, no, I can't. I love the opera. That's my first love. I mean, I love you too, but the opera's really important. I'm paraphrasing. The thing is, the opera company is also being watched by somebody else who is in the opera house, who has less than decent designs. And the people that run the opera house, the brothers, are being sent notes that are basically saying that Christine is going to sing the lead in the opera or else. The person who is singing lead in the opera, a prima donna named Mademoiselle Carlotta, has a stage mother who redefines the word pushy, and, you know, her mother's basically like, you know, this is crap, my daughter's singing, and don't you dare try and stop her. That doesn't work out really well. And it concludes with a chandelier dropping on the audience. Now, through all of this stuff, Christine has been hearing a voice inside the dressing room. This voice that says that it's the spirit of music and it wants to help her be a star because she's so perfect and special and blah, blah, blah. Eventually, she winds up meeting the person behind the voice, who turns out to be this well-spoken man who wears a mask covering his face. He brings her to an underground lair that's way under the opera house and says that she will live with him and he will teach her to sing and make her a great star, etc., and so on and so forth, and also tells her that his name is Eric. And she kind of finally realizes, this guy is not really wrapped very tight. but I'll play along for a while. So she listens to him play, and he's a beautiful musician, but he's obviously, a little touched in the head. And there's the whole mask thing. And he tells her that he's going to do all this stuff for her, but there's one thing she must never do, and that's remove his mask. Guess who can't keep their hands off the mask? Christine, who is completely riddled with curiosity and has to know what's going on behind that mask, walks up behind the Phantom while he's playing the music that he wrote on the piano or the organ, I think, and removes the mask. And we get to see the face of the Phantom of the Opera. And it's quite a sight. And stuff from there goes rapidly downhill.
Mm.
Why don't you read the cast list for us?
Oh, okay. I don't have it ready yet. Do you?
Yes, I do, actually.
Because I didn't see it. You
the
did.
The cast includes Lon Chaney as the Phantom, whose true name is Eric. Mary Philbin as Christine. Norman Carey as Vicomte Raoul de Chagny. Christine's last name is Daae, by the way. Arthur Edmund Carew as Ledoux. Gibson Gowland as Simon Burkett. John St. Paulus as Comte Philippe de Chagny, who is Raoul's brother. Snitz Edwards as Florine Papillon. And Virginia Pearson as Carlotta. In the 1930 reissue, she's Carlotta's mother. And Mary Fabian as Carlotta in the 1930s reissue. And there's a lot of other people in this film that are uncredited.
That's how silents were.
Yeah. Wow.
So now that you've seen the whole thing, obviously you were quite taken by it. I came in the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I was. It is a really terrific film. I mean, everybody and their dog has seen the scene where Christine walks up behind the Phantom and removes the mask. And we, as the audience, see Eric's severe, I don't know if deformed is the right word, but his face is all messed up. Technical, I know. We don't know if that's from a birth defect or what. But we see his face. We see his face before Christine sees his face, and we as the audience flip out. When this film was shown back in the 1930s, obviously people hadn't seen things like this.
No, that was a new experience for them.
It was. 1925, I should say, when it was first shown. There were reports of people screaming when the Phantom is unmasked.
Well, duh.
There were reports of people fainting, but that might be apocryphal. I don't know. Chaney did all of his own makeup. He was called the Man of 1,000 Faces for a reason. He was incredibly good with the makeup that he did. When you look at this makeup and realize, though, the amount of pain he had to put himself through to look like this, the whole thing with the Phantom's nose, the way it looks and the way his face looks, has this kind of skull-like look to it. He did that by pulling his nose back and pinning it in place and basically tying it in place with wire. I mean, that had to be incredibly painful.
I wouldn't think it would feel good, no.
No. The version that I saw had music along with it, which I was kind of like, that's nice. It adds a nice touch, because if you had been watching this in a silent theater back in the day, there would have been music along with
organist.
it. There would have been somebody there with a piano or, whatever, playing along. The one thing that I did think was interesting, I wasn't sure about it at first, but as the film went along, I was like, I actually like that. I think it's different. There's a scene at a party. It's a masked ball, and the Phantom shows up dressed as the Red Death from Edgar Allan Poe's short story, The Mask of the Red Death. The scene is colorized. All of the participants, all of the people, the party goers and stuff, their costumes are all colorized. And the Phantom's costume, which is obviously all red, is colorized. And it's really striking. I was like, that's a really bold move, and I think it actually played off really, really well. I mean, people who have never seen a silent film don't really realize all of the work that went into those films as actors, because you obviously have to rely on your voice a lot as an actor. So when you're doing something as a silent actor, you have to totally rely on gestures and facial expressions to get your point across, even between the title cards that show the words. And I think that really shows off in this film how difficult that is to do and how well it works when it's done correctly. Mm-hmm. The end of the film is really, really tragic. I think it's really beautiful and sad, but then I always tend to root for the monsters anyway. And I feel bad for the Phantom. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I feel bad for him. All he wants is to be loved. He just wants to love somebody and have them love him in return. That's not a terrible thing to want, really. But if you get a chance to catch the Phantom of the Opera on Turner Classic Movies or anywhere else, the silent version is really, really cool. You should definitely check it out.
All right. Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer is co-presented by Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in, from director April Wright. You can check it out right now on Amazon Prime or order the DVD at goingattractions.com.
Subject Cinema. Drive-In Summer.
eCinema One is your choice for great info and commentary about the world of film and entertainment. Daily trailer postings, the latest news and film reviews, commentary about the state of the industry, the weekly Subject Cinema and 3-Minute Weekend podcast, and so much more you won't believe it. New material is being posted daily, so join us each day and see what you're missing out on. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinema One from PNRNetworks, ecinema1.com. Want to listen to Subject Cinema on the go? Check out Stitcher. You can access all the latest episodes right from iPhone or Android. Check it out. Click on the Stitcher logo on our sidebar or go to Stitcher.com and search for your favorite PNR Network show. Get started today.
Subject Cinema. Drive-In Summer. Dixie Kirkham and Kim Brown.
The Silver Stream.
This whole nightmare is my doing.
Soon I will bring hell to you.
All renegades will be terminated.
But now it seems time has run out for us all.
My name is MANBORG.
This film recently became available on Amazon Video. It's available through Amazon Prime, so if you have a Prime subscription, it's free. And it is a true homage to the kind of direct-to-home video crap that was being produced from the, 1983 to 1989.
Yeah.
It's really, really well done. If you watch this film, you're going to be shocked when I tell you a little bit later what the budget was. Give us the quick rundown on the 2011 film MANBORG.
Okay. Think of every Power Ranger episode you've ever watched. You thinking of it? Now, drink an entire bottle of vodka and throw yourself down a flight of stairs. Don't really do any of that. Just kidding. Don't do it. MANBORG tells the story of a world... Oh, should I do it? In a world That's gone completely in a world gone completely to hell in a handbasket. Seriously, everything
like your Don LaFontaine impression.
Hello, estrogen, boobs.
Lake Bell does it well.
Well, yeah, but
anyway.
Lake Bell is a really accomplished actress, and I'm a
She
dimwit.
is.
And I'm a dimwit, so you know.
All right.
And I'm the cute one.
Sure thing, pumpkin.
Thank you, eggplant. Count Draculon, who is our head bad guy, which gives you an idea of what we're dealing with, and his evil Nazi vampire forces, because they can't just be Nazis or they can't just be vampires, they have to be Nazi vampires.
And evil Nazi vampires at that. It's not like we're going to have good Nazi vampires.
Because KKK zombies would have just been silly.
Oh, brother. Okay.
They have taken over Earth during the Hell Wars. Whatever that was. Actually,
something in the future.
Yeah, something in the future. Yes, this future is even worse than Miranda July's future. And that's saying something.
I was going to say something along those lines, but... And you know what happened with this soldier?
Whose name we never find out.
No. You know what happened?
What?
He died.
He died, yeah. So this unknown soldier, whose name we never find out because it's all tragic and sad like that, is killed while he's attempting to fight Count Draculon and winds up being fitted with robotics, and somehow this brings him back to life as the super robotic soldier, actually it would be super cybernetic soldier, MANBORG, because he's a man and a cyborg. You get it?
Yeah.
He winds up becoming, he's brought back to life and searches through Megadeth City.
Isn't he brought back to life like several years after he passes away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And he starts looking for other fighters to fight against Count Draculon and his evil forces. He meets Justice, who looks kind of like Billy Idol, who is
with a really awful fake Australian accent.
Yeah, it's not the best at all.
It's deliberate too. Anyway,
who is joined by his sister named Mina and a expert in martial arts named Number One Man.
You know, if Justice is there, shouldn't that be Freedom? Shouldn't her name be Freedom? It would just make more
Liberty,
sense. Or Liberty. It would have made more sense, yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Why are we even asking?
I don't know.
I guess we should just be glad that Number One Man's partner wasn't called Number Two Man, because that would be a completely different film. And this is just getting so stupid. So MANBORG and his band of ragtag followers.
Well, no, actually, he's a follower of theirs.
Well, they
recruit him, basically.
Yeah, they do. They recruit him to overthrow the evil Doctor Scorpius and Draculon and all of their evil companions and minions and such. And there begins this film.
It should have been a franchise, I think. What?
Are you kidding?
No, I think these would be great. Ugh. With Matthew Kennedy as MANBORG, Adam Brooks as both Count Draculon and his evil Dr. henchman, Dr. Scorpius, Meredith Sweeney as Mina, Connor Sweeney, her real-life brother, as Justice. There you go. Ludwig Lee as the body of, and Kyle Hebert as the voice of Number One Man, Jeremy Gillespie as the Baron, Andrea Carr as Shadow Mega, and Mike Kostansky as Little Guy. The movie runs a little bit over an hour, 70 minutes, and was made by the folks at Astron 7. They are a no-frills DIY film company out of Canada. And this was their third film.
I have to admit, they MacGyvered the crap out of this.
You look at this, it looks literally like it is a fairly well-budgeted 80s
VHS
schlock thing.
Cheese fest.
They made this entire film for less than $1,000 Canadian.
Yeah.
That's what, 700, 800 American dollars?
This is math again.
I'm like, holy cow, are you kidding me? A lot of them were we first saw MANBORG at the 2011 or 2012 Underground Film Festival
Since
here.
It came out in 2011, I would assume it was the 2012.
It's hard to tell. I think it was the 2012. Sure. But it is an absolute scream. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's a fun story. It's a very RoboCop-ish type of thing, and set in the future. Really deliberately bad acting from Connor Sweeney, who openly was there and who openly admitted, yes, I deliberately overplayed it. Yes, I know the accent was bad. It was supposed to be. And yes, I'd do it again. Mm-hmm. He's clearly, the jokester of this group. Kennedy has starred in most of the Astron 7 stuff over the years. If you've never seen MANBORG, now is your opportunity to do so, although it's been available on DVD for a number of years. It is now available for streaming on Amazon Prime, as we said. And if you don't have Prime, it's $3.99 for a rental. Mm-hmm. It's a good hour and 15-minute waste of time, and the money is $3, $4. Can't go wrong with this.
No.
It's a lot of fun.
I do have to say the ending irked me. But
the ending was a little irritating, and it ends kind of abruptly. But it was still...
The ending abruptly didn't irritate me. Just the ending itself.
Yeah, I know. It was a very, the last two lines are like, all this was for nothing. Not trying to give it away, but it is something else. If you've never seen it, check it out today. MANBORG from Astron 7, now available on Amazon Video.
Subject Cinema. Drive-in summer.
Now you can bring all your favorite PNR Network shows to your television. Check out PNRNetworks on Roku. It's all of what PNRNetworks has to offer, all in one place. The entire PNRNetworks podcast family, Subject Cinema Reviews, Platinum Rose's Garden, Mirrorball Mayhem, 3-Minute Weekend, Cave Babble, and Mashed Up Madness, plus the latest videos from PNRNetworks and Larry 411, all right at your fingertips. And even more is on the horizon. It's literally thousands of hours, a decade worth of great audio and video, all under one roof. And best of all, it's all free. The PNRNetworks Roku channel. Simply go to the On Roku area of any of our websites or click on the Roku button on the sidebar to subscribe. And don't forget to tell all your Roku-owning friends we're here as well.
eCinema Boston is your best choice for all the latest news and info about happenings in the world of film here in the hub of the universe. Local theater listings, ticketing info, reviews of local venues, spotlight on Boston actors, the latest film shoots, and a whole lot more. If you're in the Metro Boston area, you need eCinema Boston from PNRNetworks. Once you visit, you will always be back for more. eCinemaBoston.com.
Subject Cinema. Drive-in summer. T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer Salutes are co-presented by drive-ins.com, your one-stop source for all information on drive-ins around the U.S. and around the world. You can find it at drive-ins.com. Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer Salute this week is the Holiday Twin Drive-In in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is not the first time they have been on our show. Mm-hmm. We originally featured the Holiday Twin when they were running a Kickstarter to go digital a few years ago. Well, they've made it. In fact, they ran another Kickstarter to help restore their snack bar this year. They have been in operation for 38 years with 2 screens and an operation every year from May through September. They have 35 staff members, which is the largest staff we've seen of any of the drive-ins so far this summer. Their slogan, "The Place to Be," makes it super easy since they are the only drive-in theater in northern Colorado. As I said, they did run a Kickstarter earlier this year to restore and revamp their snack bar, which was a big success. When asked what makes their drive-in special to their customers, they replied, "We create a family-friendly atmosphere and provide a unique experience to our patrons with an iconic location at the Front Range of the Rockies." That'd be cool. Get the Rocky Mountains around.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All that stuff. They are the starting point of the Horsetooth Half Marathon every April. Okay. And they do offer handcrafted burgers on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with pulled pork burritos with green chilies. They have a lot of branded merchandise on sale, but they have it right now. It's only at the drive-in. At the concession stand, they are working on an online store. They're also available if you have a app called Tidbit. They are on there. Tidbit is a platform that sends notifications to fans that sign up for it.
Cool.
They're a member of that, and they send the latest show stuff to their fans. I was looking at this place. It sounds absolutely fantastic.
It does. It sounds like a lot of fun, like they really care about the people that come visit them.
Yeah, it does, and it sounds like a great place to kick back, watch a couple of movies, enjoy some great snacks and fun. So, to Josh Cesar and the staff of the Holiday Twin Drive-In, Fort Collins, Colorado, at 2206 Southland Overland Trail, we are here to tell you we're glad that you're around. We hope you'll be around for a long time. And that is why you are this week's Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer Salute.
Salute!
We thought we'd talk this over as part of the 80s trash that was showing on a lot of drive-in screens in the 80s that were still around. Mad Ron's drive-in previews. You watched this on Netflix yesterday. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I only stayed for a little bit of it because I wasn't feeling well and there was a lot of gore on it.
Mm-hmm. Mad Ron's Previews from Hell from 1987 is a trailer compilation for those of us who like our trailers a little bit on the red and squishy side.
Ick.
The wraparound story takes place at a theater in Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. Really beautiful theater, by the way. That is being hosted by a ventriloquist named Nick. The gentleman's full name is Nick Powlow, I believe. And his ventriloquist dummy, Happy Goldsplat. Happy happens to be a zombie ventriloquist dummy.
Happy Goldsplat, sure.
Yeah.
Alligators in the sewers. I'm sorry.
What?
Nothing. ET reference. No, people who've seen ET will get it.
Happy is a zombie ventriloquist dummy, so that's different. And also has a pretty foul mouth on him. The projectionist is the aforementioned Mad Ron, who is chained to the movie projector and spends a lot of time frothing at the mouth. This gives you the kind of idea of what we're dealing with. As Nick and Happy watch the films, the trailer films, the theater is being filled up with legions of the living dead who have decided to forego dancing with Michael Jackson and show up to watch a bunch of, exploitation trailers.
Yep.
And boy, do we get the gamut.
Yep.
Wow.
All held in the Theater of the Living Dead.
Ooh, that was nice.
Yeah, thank you.
That was very nice.
Which they did show that trailer.
Huh?
Did they not show that trailer?
There's no movie called Theater of the Living Dead.
No, for Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, they did show the trailer for Night of the Living Dead, yes. The trailers that they showed were, to be honest, I've seen quite a few of them. We both have on Something Weird. Trailers for things like Black Christmas, Blood and Lace.
I drink your blood and I eat your skin.
Followed by the sequel, I Wear White After Labor Day.
Well, those are two movies.
Yeah, I know
That's the one thing that bugs me about that trailer. They always make it sound like one title. I drink your blood and I eat your skin. They need to go, I drink your blood and I drink your skin. They need a bigger gap there.
Well, anyway. Also on the bill...
I drink your skin or I eat your skin?
I eat your skin. Anyway. Followed by I get 12 items or less and go through get 14 items, and I wear white after Labor Day.
And don't forget about don't go in the basement.
Yeah.
Don't go on the trampoline. Don't go to the grocery store.
Don't touch that, you'll go blind. Also on the bill, we had Cannibal Girls. I'm not going to go through everything that was on the
No, but...
Cannibal Girls, Last House on the Left, Blood Spattered Bride, I Dismember Mama, Torso, Beyond the Door, and one film that I got to bring this one up, because this one, like I said, I'd seen a lot of these trailers before. This one I had never seen, and I don't ever want to see this film. It's a film called Africa Audio, and it is a documentary about Africa and about all of the moments of brutal violence that have occurred on the continent of Africa.
So it's a Mondo film, basically.
It's actually brought to the studio, the film audience, by the people that brought you Mondo Cane.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah, then there you go. We talked about those last week.
It is one of the most nauseating things I have ever seen in my life. You see people being shot, you see animals being shot, you see more people being shot, you see more animals being shot. And I'm sitting there going, I'm going to throw up. Because I can deal with all the fake Kensington gore you want. I mean, I don't like eyeball stuff.
Kensington gore? What's
that's
that?
very bright red. The Hammer stuff.
The Hammer stuff, right. That's what I thought you were going for. An
I can deal with that kind of stuff. It really doesn't bother me.
Isn't that the African one where they were pushing the eyeball out of the eye socket?
No, you missed it. You weren't there for that.
Oh, what was that one?
I forgot.
That was icky.
Night of the Blood Apes.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
That's Mexican.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, no, Africa Audio is, oh man, I'm like watching this going, this is disgusting. This is just the most sickening thing I've ever seen, and I can't figure out who the hell would go to movies like this.
Well, who the hell would go see Cannibal Holocaust? I mean, really, seriously.
I don't know. Don't look at me.
And it's a cult hit, so...
Well, like I mentioned before, when we were doing the exploitation film talking about exploitation films last week, one of the trailers they ran in this was Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS.
I don't get these at all. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Really?
Why?
Huh?
Why did anybody think this was a good idea? And who the hell finds this stuff sexy?
And can anyone else not tell that it was shot on the set of Hogan's Heroes, which it was? Mm-hmm. In fact, they let them do that because they promised to burn the set down when they were done, because they were trying to get rid of it several years after the show got canceled.
Yeah. This actually, as I mentioned, was done in 1987. It didn't get released until September 2010. For wide distribution, I guess. If you have a chance and Netflix, you can check out Mad Ron's Previews from Hell if you'd like. It is free, so, it's just...
You said he had a foul-mouthed companion, right?
Yeah.
What kind of fowl? Turkey, chicken, duck?
I'm gonna flip you the bird in a minute.
Cornish game hen!
Subject Cinema! Drive-in summer!
It's back this week, yay! The 13 report,
yay!
And I'm gonna flip out because, it's August. Why are we watching a Christmas movie?
Because it's next on the list.
Oh yeah, The Christmas That Almost Wasn't from 1966. Mm-hmm. Wow, you had been saying you saw this in the theater when you were a little kid, and it was terrible.
What I can remember, I remember going to see this movie when I was a very young child, and I mean very young, as in I don't think my sister was born yet, so that's 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. And I remember being taken to see this movie either at the General Cinema in Saugus or the General Cinema in Peabody. I don't remember which.
In a kiddie matinee.
Matinee. Yeah, that I do
Hopefully
remember.
Around Christmas time.
Yes, that I do remember. It was daytime, and I remember being bored out of my gourd. I don't even remember the end of this movie. I think I fell asleep. To be perfectly honest.
Give us the brief overview.
Okie dokie. The Christmas That Almost Wasn't, which in Italian is Il Natale che quasi non fu, and I hope I was even close, tells the story of Sam Whipple, who is a lawyer who is actually a really nice guy, amazingly enough, so we're already in the realm of fantasy.
Yeah, he's the son of the guy from the store, right?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Stop it. He is...
Well, he's not squeezing the Charmin. He won't be on it.
He's a lawyer, but he's not a rich lawyer because he tends to forget to bill people. He's into being a lawyer because he's a nice guy, I guess, whatever. He finds...
Yeah, you won't find that very often.
Yeah, so like I said, we're already in the realm of fantasy. he has a pretty odd visitor while he's out decorating for Christmas, and the visitor is a gentleman who looks an awful lot like Santa Claus, except the fact that he is Santa Claus. But he's not the jolly old elf that we usually think Santa would be at Christmas time. In fact, he looks pretty dang stressed. The reason that Santa is on the worried side is because he has a new landlord, a gentleman named Phineas T. Prune, who is apparently one of the richest men on the entire planet, because he has bought the North Pole. The whole damn thing.
Boo!
And
yes!
Is charging Santa rent, which apparently has never been done before because it's the North Pole and he's Santa Claus. So anyway, Mr. Prune has threatened that if Santa can't pay the rent, he's going to evict Santa along with Mrs. Claus and all of Santa's elves, and is going to confiscate Santa's toys in place of the money that he owes him. So Sam decides that he's going to help Santa out because it's Santa Claus, duh. And
because Santa showed him a letter.
Yes.
That he'd written to him when he was a little boy.
Where
he said, if you ever need any help, come to me.
Yes. So the moral of this story, kids, is never put anything in writing.
Especially to Santa Claus.
Especially to Santa Claus, because that guy's got a long memory. Moving on. After a delightful trip to the North Pole, where we have to go through a song and
yes, there are a few musical numbers in this.
A song and thankfully lacking dance number, because I don't think I could deal with that. Sam winds up getting Santa a job in a department store to earn the money that he will need to pay Mr. Prune. Sam is going to be a janitor, and Santa's going to be, wait for it, a department store Santa. Hooray! Problem solved, right? Wrong. First off, the problem is Santa is very nervous about doing this because when he visits everybody's house to drop off presents, blah, blah, the children are asleep, obviously, because if you're not asleep, Santa doesn't show up. Everybody knows that. But so Santa's kind of flipped about the idea of seeing the children when they're awake. But Sam talks him through it, and surprise, department store Santas turn out to be a ginormous hit. Obviously, this film takes place sometime in the past, because apparently nobody ever thought of this idea up till this point. Whatevs. The problem is that Mr. Prune isn't your average bad guy in these kind of films. He's actually pretty smart. And his nefarious butler...
No, his butler is
his
smart.
Butler's actually smarter than him. His butler gives him a plan that he winds up using that makes Sam and Santa's efforts all for naught. Will Sam and Santa be able to save Christmas? You'll have to watch the film to find out for yourself.
With Rossano Brazzi as Phineas T. Prune, also the director of the film. Paul Tripp as Sam Whipple, the writer of the film. Lydia Brazzi as Mrs. Santa. I don't know whether she's any relation or not. Alberto Rabagatelli as Santa Claus.
That was a nice pronunciation, by the way, because I would have ruined that.
I did ruin it. Misha Auer as Jonathan, the foreman of the elves. Sonny Fox as Mr. Prem, the owner of the department store. And John Carlson as Blossom. We don't get the.
Blossom is Mr. Prune's butler. By the
way. Oh, that
way.
is him. Okay,
yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I found this film utterly charming. I really enjoyed this, and I mean, it's nowhere near as bad as Santa Claus and Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
No,
it's way more tolerable and really, really sweet in places.
Yeah, it is.
We could do without the musical numbers.
Oh, yes, we could. I have to say, I completely agree with you. I thought this film was very sweet. I mean, it's silly.
Sure, it's a Christmas fable.
It's a Christmas movie. It's a children's movie. So why shouldn't it be silly and a little cloying? But the message is rather sweet.
Cloying? You were telling me how much you loved Santa Claus because of Lupita. You can't get any more cloying than Lupita.
I thought Lupita was a very sweet little girl.
She was, but she was cloying. The whole story was cloying. Cloying.
You got no soul, RTC. Anyway.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
I shall be indignant the rest of this segment.
You can't spell indignant. Anyway,
I can too, anyway.
I'm just kidding. Yes, you can. It's a very cute little movie. I mean, it's irritating in some parts. Apparently, there were only, maybe half a dozen elves that work at the North Pole and make all the toys. And I don't understand why all the elves are, I don't know how to word this, on the short side, except for Jonathan, who they mention is an elf.
He's a foreman, though.
So just because you're taller, you get to be the foreman?
Yep.
Maybe he's a half elf. I don't know.
Well, I keep telling you, they needed, when all this stuff started, they needed to activate the elf network. You know, just hit the button on the elf network and call Elrond to come shoot arrows through, or Legolas. That's and then if they need dental work, they can call Herbie.
They might wind up summoning Drizzt, but that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
That's a bad idea. D&D joke. Anyway.
And the others were inspired by a Foxtrot strip, which had Rudolph's Lord of the Rings Christmas, which I still think is one of the funniest things I've ever seen them do. Anyway.
Yeah, I have to admit,
You were disappointed there was no Rudolph, too.
Well, I love Rudolph. Rudolph's like my favorite character. He's just, Anyway, this film, I'm sorry about all the times I was like, oh, this film must have been terrible and stuff, because I don't really remember. I remember being bored, but I do remember being bored. This is one of the reasons
why we couldn't find this time for it, is because Kim was dragging her feet on it a couple of times.
Yeah, I was. And we were busy. But I thought it was sweet. So let's get to the host segments, because we weren't the only ones that had to watch this. Jonah and the bots try to spread a little cheer in the prologue with some Christmas carols. So Jonah, of course, picks the one Christmas carol that nobody remembers all the lyrics to.
Except Kim.
Good King Wenceslas. Yeah. Kim remembers the lyrics, but
I much prefer Here We Come a Waffling.
At least it's not Feliz on the Dog. Anyway.
No, it's not.
Segment 1 has Kinga still gloating about the idea that her marriage to Jonah will bump up the ratings, which don't exist because Netflix. But this leads to the invention exchange. Jonah's invention is the regifter, which is a box that is inside a box. So when somebody opens the box, there's another box. So you can keep repeating
But you know what's really interesting, and I pointed this out when we saw it, the two boxes are of equal size. How are they fitting inside each other? Because Jonah puts the one that was originally on the outside on the inside of the other box.
F you, it's magic.
It was interesting.
So you can sit there and repeat that line from 7 over and over again. What's in the box?
Please, no.
Sorry. That was really not nice. Kinga's invention is Humbug FM, which is designed to stop you from having to listen to Christmas songs by making noise that sounds like what would happen if you put a cat in a blender.
It's Christmas songs as done by Leah Moraccioli.
Don't do... No, it's not... No, it's not... It's not Christmas songs done badly. It's just it's excruciatingly loud.
I didn't say Leo did things badly.
No, I didn't mean it that way. It's not. It's not Christmas songs done in a thrash style or anything like that. It's just that you're replacing the sounds of Christmas songs with, these grating, screeching, sounds.
I thought they were supposed to have a holiday theme, but that's okay. I couldn't really tell.
Because apparently some people have a problem with Christmas music. If you want to be that way, heathens. I personally don't have a problem with Christmas music as long as it starts playing after Thanksgiving.
And it's not Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
Yeah. Or Christmas Shoes, because that song makes me cry.
How about Christmas Cash?
No, that song makes me sick.
I love that song! Yay, Lucas! Anyway, go ahead.
Segment 2 has Jonah and Tom and Crow taking a look at the toys that Santa brings traditionally. They're talking about the traditional stuff that Santa brings in, like old pictures and things, toy soldiers and rocking horses and stuff like that, which they promptly rip to shreds, because that's what they do.
It's modern.
It's modern, yeah. Because, kids want their iPads and their... G phones and whatever else newfangled things kids today. I don't know.
Way to make us sound like curmudgeons, hon. Thank you.
I just wanted books. That's all I want. Well, I also wanted swords, but I knew I wasn't going to get those. All I want for Christmas is a +5 holy event.
Go on.
Anyway, segment 3 had the bots flipping out about the toys that we see in Mr. Prim's department store, and Jonah trying to comfort them, which is completely understandable.
Those toys, the toy props were creepy as all hell.
Oh man,
they really were.
You know, if you think of those the pictures, the old paintings with the big eyes, those children with the big eyes. Think of that on a stuffed animal. And try and not run screaming from the room, because that's just some really scary shite. Segment 5 has the guys being visited by Santa himself, who is dealing with Mr. Whipple still because of a line that's said earlier on in the film that they kind of picked up and ran with, and it's a little bit disturbing.
Hi, Joel.
Joel is playing Santa Claus, which I thought was interesting because his Santa Claus, his outfit is kind of interesting. If you look at the Santa Claus costume, it's the European style Santa Claus as opposed to the American style.
Because the movie is European.
Yeah, that's true. Although Santa in the movie is wearing the American style.
Yeah, he is.
Blech. My head hurts now. Segment 5 has Jonah and the bots opening, along with the Mads on Moon 13, opening their Christmas presents. And what they're doing is they're doing it in a way that is mimicking the film at the end of the film, where the action is going on while this chirpy music's playing, and it's all
stills,
frame by frame by frame,
still shots. Yeah,
yeah, which I thought was an interesting choice for the film. I don't get it.
No, I don't either, but I thought the end of it worked. The segment worked.
It did, yeah.
Especially with Max and Kinga.
Yeah. Yeah, Kinga's a real thunder. Beep! You know. Which I know some of our friends in other parts of the world will get that reference. And I can't say it because he'll yell at me. Great show. Awesome show. Next week's episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
And the last episode, by the way, if you watch episode 13, The Christmas That Always Wasn't, Kickstarter thing at the end, look for me on the left side.
Yeah.
Kim will be on the DVDs.
Yes. Your name is immortalized forever!
As part of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
On Netflix! Hooray! No, it's cool. It was very neat seeing your name.
Oh, yeah, because I won't be on the DVD. It'll just be you.
Yeah.
I'm on the streaming one.
Yep.
So,
Huzzah.
Anyway.
Next, the final episode of this season of Mystery Science Theater 3000 on Netflix. We hope there will be many, 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 many more.
I think there will be.
I hope there will be.
It's been a big hit.
Episode 14, At the Earth's Core.
Which is a semi-sequel to a movie earlier in the season, which was The Land That Time Forgot.
Yep.
Doug McClure makes another appearance.
More Doug McClure.
And more, who did those? Edgar Rice Burroughs movies.
Yes.
Based on Edgar Rice Burroughs stories.
Yes.
And it's said to end on a cliffhanger, and whether or not Jonah and Kinga will be married, something that Kinga's hot on and Jonah really doesn't get, we'll find out at the end of the season.
Yes, because it's a cliffhanger. Everybody all together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dun, dun, dun!
Quick edition of the PNRNetworks calendar coming back this week. We're going to tell you about some special stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up Labor Day weekend, September 2nd through 4th, it is a triple feature weekend. We will have shows on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it's like, holy cow, I'm sounding like Gilbert Gottfried all of a sudden, what the hell? On Saturday, September 2nd, our annual fall film preview will run down all the movies coming out for Oscar bait this fall. On September 3rd, our end of summer party on the Subject Cinema's final installment of Subject Cinema's Drive-In Summer We'll run down all the drive-ins we've saluted and such like that.
Yep.
And on Monday, September 4th, the 12th annual Rising Stars Honors, which, after a discussion, will be moving to Labor Day permanently, starting with this coming year, this year. So, 10 more males, 10 more females joining the Rising Stars list. At that time, we have a huge list we're having a hard time cutting down on. There's a lot of good young actors and actresses out there. Coming up later this week, available for download only. This will not be part of the streaming services. It will not be part of your subscription if you subscribe to Subject Cinema. You will need to go to eCinema 1 and click on the download link to download Kim and TC Snark Eurovision 2017. This is a 3-hour fiasco almost, with the two of us just ranting and raving about the various contestants on the Eurovision contest.
Hold up. Are you calling it almost 3 hours or almost a fiasco? Because that's...
Yes.
Fine. Thank you for clearing that up for me.
We kind of stopped in the middle where the interval was going on, where the voting was going on, and then we came back when they were starting to run the votes, and we were talking about stuff, and we make a lot of interesting comments about the winner on it, because we were like, what the hell? But it's going to be funny and fun, and we hope you'll love it.
I'm surprised there weren't hairballs.
We hope you'll love it. It will be available for digital direct download only. It's not going to YouTube. It's not going to SoundCloud. It is only going to be on the Subject Cinema website and on the eCinema 1 website, eCinema Boston website. You'll be able to download it, but it's not going to be a part of the stream, so you're going to have to go in. We can't. There's too much music in the background, and I have no way of getting rid of it.
Yeah.
So it's only a download for snarking purposes. Also, like to have your guys' help with this. I want to bring it up to you. One of the things we're prepping for this fall is a new video version of 3 Minute Weekend. My goal is to do a half-hour program every week with all the clips and trailers and such of all the films hitting theaters throughout the country, the U.S. And I hope that's going to be really something. And I hope that you will come over and do that. But one thing that can help us out, and I'm asking everybody who's listening to go over to YouTube and click subscribe on our channel. We're listed as Popcorn and Roses. It's too much trouble to change the name over there, as I found out when I was doing a bunch of research and a bunch of updates this weekend. I've revised it so that there's separate playlists of all of our various shows. We want you to subscribe because we're trying to get our subscription numbers up on YouTube, because the further up we get, the more perks we get from them, and that will help us out as far as content goes. So please, even if you have a subscription through your favorite podcast, pod feeder or whatever, go to YouTube, look up Popcorn and Roses, and please click subscribe. And then listen to a show or two and click up or down whether you like it, just to help our ratings out a bit. It doesn't take very long, and it's something we definitely need you to do. This is not much, okay? Not like we're asking you for a weekend in Aruba. We're asking you to take a minute tops, go to YouTube, subscribe to Popcorn and Roses.
Please.
Okay? That's all you got to do, and we hope that you will be a part of that this week. We're trying to get it up. I want to double the subscribers this week. So we already have, a certain number. I know what that is. Please go over, hit subscribe, and then tweet your friends, Facebook on your Facebook page, and let them know, hey, Subject Cinema is on a subscription campaign. I subscribed, you should too, and give them the link to our YouTube.
Yep.
Okay? Not much to do. I know a lot of our listeners are on Facebook. I know a lot of our listeners are on Twitter. Please do this for us. And that's going to be a big help. That's going to do it for the calendar this week. We've got one more thing that we need your help with that doesn't cost anything. We're putting together a new promotional package. If you're a fan of Subject Cinema and you have a microphone connected to your computer or your phone, go over to our website, ecinema1.com, or you can go to the Subject Cinema Summer site and find, on the Summer site, it's in the bottom, and on our regular website, it's in the right column that says, click to leave a voicemail. Leave us a message telling why you like Subject Cinema. We're going to put together an ad package with listener responses if we get enough people to do it. And it shouldn't take you more than a minute or two. You can do it from your phone. You can do it with your microphone on your laptop or on your PC. And it doesn't cost you anything. Go over and check out our SpeakPipe and leave us a message so you can be a part of our upcoming campaign.
The last reel.
Hey guys, have you heard the news yet? Everybody is all a Twitter on the interwebs because it was announced on Friday, I think it was Friday, it may have been Saturday, that Ralph Macchio and William Zabka are getting back together for a sequel to the Karate Kid movies from the 1980s. Titled Cobra Kai, the series will air on YouTube Red beginning in 2018. Storyline, Johnny Lawrence, the character played by William Zabka, is down on his luck, and he hopes to revitalize his life by reopening Kreese's old Cobra Kai karate studio, which brings him back into contention and rivalry with the now successful businessman Daniel LaRusso, played by Ralph Macchio, whose character is kind of lost and drifting since his mentor, Mr. Miyagi, passed away a few years ago. I can't wait for this show. I would not be worried. I would not be buying YouTube Red, but I love Karate Kid and Karate Kid Part 2. 3 and the next Karate Kid you can throw out the window. The cartoon series was pretty good too. But I'll tell you something. I don't know how Ralph Macchio is going to do this. Because it's centered around their rivalry, and it all comes down to them focusing on karate to get their lives back in shape. Ralph has had bad knees for over a decade. He barely got through Dancing with the Stars a few seasons ago.
That's true.
And he still only got to 5th place, wasn't it? So it's like, knees are important to karate kicking.
Yeah, they are.
So they're going to have to find a very convincing stunt double to do his stuff, I think.
Maybe. Either that or maybe he's been working on getting his knees better since then. You don't know.
It could be.
Maybe, but either way, it should be really interesting.
I know you don't get it because you've never seen the original Karate Kid.
No, I haven't. But that's,
we need to sit down and watch it sometime because it's just an awesome film.
I probably should. I know it's really highly thought of by a lot of people from our generation.
There's a lot of classic 80s stuff you haven't seen. I finally got you to see E.T., which you didn't like.
No.
Karate Kid, you need to see. You need to see The Outsiders.
Yeah, I know. I definitely need to see that.
And but I can't wait to see this show. Cobra Kai is its title. It will be premiering on YouTube Red, $9.99 a month, starting in 2018. And we'll probably bring you more updates on it as it goes. And that's the last reel for this week. Well, I think we've gotten our best out about Eurospies, and
I think so, yeah.
And
everything else.
Everything else we've had on this week's show. Only a few weeks going on our drive-in summer. We hope that you'll enjoy it. We hope you're visiting your local drive-ins this summer. We do hope you'll check out our sponsors, GoingAttractions.com. From Going Attractions, the definitive story of the American drive-in. Wonderful film by April Wright. And drive-ins.com, your official, really only best place for information on drive-ins all over the world at drive-ins.com. Thank you for coming on board this summer for our sponsorships. We have, what are you looking at me for?
Nothing. I'll tell you later.
Okay. We have a lot of great other stuff that you can listen to every week, and we sure you know what it is if you've been around for a while. But Platinum Rose's Garden, going back into regular shows this fall. Also, Kate Babel with Eric and Valerie Lyon, Comic Grotto with Aunt B and Pee-wee, and Catastrophe Vortex, which will be back this week, Poseidon Adventure. Be ready. Plus, 3-Minute Weekend and Tuesday Digidex. Real Rewind is still coming later this year, hopefully in December, and a lot more.
Yep.
All part of the PNR Networks family. We hope you'll visit us for every day at ecinema1.com, which has loads of stuff going. We're doing weekly picks from Netflix, Amazon, and Fandor starting this week. Hot trailers, some of the other stories that we're looking at, and it's all for you guys.
Yes.
And we hope that you'll join us. We also hope you'll join our Patreon sponsors if you have a chance. Starting at $2 a month, we could really use the help in getting things done. We have a lot of things we'd like to do for you, but we can't afford to do them without your help. So please, go ahead.
And we also definitely, no, you keep going.
So please, go over to patreon.com/PNR Networks and donate. You can go anywhere from $2 to $100. We are restructuring some of the perks you will get on the site, even if you just do the $2 level starting this week. So please donate. What were you saying?
I was going to say, and if you definitely could do something that doesn't cost you a penny, you can spread the word about Subject Cinema. Tell your friends. Tell anybody you know that's into movies.
Tweet
about us.
Facebook.
And just say, hey, these guys are...
Twitch.
These guys
Snapchat.
are funny and crazy, and we hope that you'll, check us out and spread the word about us so that other people will come and listen to us and have a lot of fun.
Yeah. You know who I'd like to get to listen to us?
No.
Bergrito. On that note... Free Burrito too. For Subject Cinema, I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
Love and Boots Gaming every Friday. Check it out.
That was subtle.
I know. It's awesome.
Like a cattle prod.
Not paid for.
You have been listening to Subject Cinema with hosts T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown. Subject Cinema is produced by PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, which is solely responsible for its content. Subject Cinema is recorded and produced using Sony Vegas products. Subject Cinema is copyright 2017 by PNRNetworks under a Creative Commons license. Check out a new episode of Subject Cinema every weekend. Until next time, this is Bob Taylor for Subject Cinema, and we'll see you at the movies.
That's all.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.